Welcome to the Sheckler Spotlight, where creativity meets purpose and conversation goes deeper. Join host Harrison Sheckler as he sits down with inspiring guests from all walks of life, artists, thinkers, musicians, and everyday heroes, to explore the stories that shape us, uplift us, and connect us. Now here's your host, Harrison Sheckler.
Hi, I'm your host, Harrison Sheckler, and welcome to another episode of the Sheckler Spotlight. Today's guest is Haley Jones, a Christian rock artist with a bold, soulful sound and a powerful message of spiritual victory. With breakout songs like Not Today and Crazy Good, Haley brings edgy guitar riffs, raw vulnerability, and faith-fueled lyrics that challenge and uplift. Raised in the church and refined by real-life battles, Haley believes in using worship as a weapon, not just a song, but a strategy for breakthrough. Her music is filled with grit, glory, and gospel power, inspiring believers everywhere to stand strong in their faith. Haley Jones, the spotlight is now on you. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
Well, thank you. I'm super excited to visit with you today. I'd like to start. Can you kind of set the stage for what your musical upbringing was and how the church shaped your sound?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always grew up in a musical household. I always grew up around music. My family is super musical, especially on my dad's side of the family. He is a huge part of why I'm musical at all. He plays trumpet extremely well, but he can play like all the instruments, literally. And I always grew up around them, like leading worship in church and stuff like that. And also growing up, like I said, my dad's side of the family, my grandpa, on his dad, before he passed, his whole life he played in church. He played piano with no lessons. And my great uncle, who I actually never met, actually recorded gospel and country records. Like he wasn't like famous or anything, but he was really good. And so I just took a lot of inspiration from that. And we always had gospel music, Southern gospel music, country music in my house all the time growing up. And I was always in church. So like gospel was like number one, like that was always a big deal. But also, aside from just music, my dad is who I have always looked up to as a performer. Because at an early age, my whole life, he was a magician comedian. He did giant shows for like these really big celebrities, and like he was a headliner on Carnival Cruise Line. So I always looked at him of like inspiration for that. Like I always just thought that was so cool. And my whole life I've been a concert lover. Like I love going to any type of show, any type of concert, anything like that. And I always, even to this day, I get so like emotional when I go to a concert, and I just feel such a strong connection. I've always said like I want to be up there on that stage, even before I knew that I could sing. That was always just something I would have loved to do, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. I'm like, I know I'm not a magician comedian, like I must be a singer. I don't know. So that was always a huge deal. And like my first concert when I was a kid was actually Miley Cyrus when she played.
Okay.
Yeah. That was like the start of like, okay, I want to do this. Like it was in the Jacksonville Arena in my hometown. And I was like, I'm going to play on that stage one day and I'm going to be just like her. And I'd say it worked out pretty well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, you were definitely surrounded by a lot of musical influences, and it started with worship in the church, and then it sounds like your dad having that performance experience being a magician, that kind of transferred over to, would you say, your confidence in performing itself? Like when did you get those opportunities to actually perform?
Yeah, so yes, my confidence definitely came from my dad of like it could even be a possibility.
Hmm.
I don't think if I didn't have him as an influence in being a performer, like I would probably never even think that was like even a possibility. Like you just hear about that in movies and stuff like that. So that definitely like planted that seed in me very early. And I'm sorry, what was the rest of that question? I'm so sorry.
Well, when did you start performing live?
Okay, yeah. So I didn't even know I could sing until I was 15 years old. And I
Oh,
was
so later on. Okay, so
like,
this was like it wasn't very long then.
yeah, it wasn't. And I'm only 25 now. So I've been doing it for about 10 years. And
Oh, wow.
I was actually, it's funny, I was singing in the shower one day really loud.
I do that too, but I don't think I'm gonna have a career singing.
This is technically how I got like discovered that I could even sing. And
Okay.
I like opera, like, oh, in the
Yeah.
shower, making a fool of myself. But I get out of my shower and I go in the living room and my dad's sitting in there. He was like, you can sing. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I was being silly. Like, no, I can't. And he was like, no, like, you can carry a tune. I can hear you. Like, you can. And one thing led to another. And I just decided to start posting myself singing online. And I never performed, like, I never sang live
Hmm.
until until like a year later. I was 16 years old and I sang in big church at my church. It was like 800 people. It was the first time I ever sang in front of anyone. So that was like super scary. But then from there, I started leading worship in my youth group and I continued to post. And I eventually led worship in a really big church um, after high school. But from there, I mean, we can get into that when we talk more about like my faith journey and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
stopped performing after that for a while.
Interesting. So
Or
when
we
you figured out that you had like this musical talent, were you completely self-taught or did you have any instructors that kind of guided you?
completely self-taught.
Wow.
Yep.
That's not usually the case. Usually it's like I have a gift, okay, we're putting this kid into vocal lessons right away, you know?
Well, so they knew I was musical from a young age, but not vocally, like singing musical. So I've actually started playing trumpet when I was in fifth grade, just like my dad.
Hmm.
And I played trumpet all throughout middle school and high school. I was in marching band. I was a band nerd. Okay.
Oh, you're one of those. Okay.
Shout out to my band kids. Um, but yeah, I was the biggest band nerd. But my senior year, like once they knew that I could sing and stuff, I moved into chorus, which my
Hmm.
band was not happy about because I was going to his wife's class now across the hall. And he was like, oh man, but his wife loved me and she was like, wait, you can sing. And so I just really enjoyed that. And then they put me into piano lessons,
Okay.
which definitely I took them for only not even a year in
Hmm.
my senior year, but that literally opened doors for me as in like I could sing harmony after I took piano lessons, but he wasn't teaching me to sing, but like my vocal abilities really started to grow after I started taking piano lessons.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. So, a little bit about me. I'm a piano professor at a college, and so classically trained. And uh, for a lot of our music majors, we also have them take basic keyboard training. Even if they're not a piano major, they still have to take keyboard skills. And I would say recommend for anyone if they really want to grow as a musician, piano is a great place to start. And it like you said, it helps with so many different avenues and just understanding music and harmony. So I think that's awesome that you were involved in that. So you hinted at that you were down this path and you were going into or you were learning how to sing, but then you said it stopped.
yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to rewind just a little bit.
Sure.
So, right before I started posting my YouTube videos online, I actually
Hmm.
got saved. I came to know Jesus Christ as my savior.
Hmm.
And I was also going to a Christian school at the time. So, it was actually at a chapel service. And I went down, I gave my life to the Lord, and then I began to post. But it was as if the enemy knew like what I was going to do in my life one day, even though I had no idea. Because that's when the attacks really started from other kids in my school. Like, I literally, when I say I was a band nerd, I had no friends except those kids in band because they would accept me for who I was and they didn't care that I was posting videos online and they thought it was cool. Like, they didn't think anything of it, but there was many who did and many who just said I would never make it. And I lost a lot of friends, but I kept going because music and Jesus is literally what kept me going and gave me
Hmm.
that going. Music is so healing and so powerful. And So like I said, I was leading worship outside of high school at this really big church in my hometown, and I got a lot of church hurt there. I was done wrong. I won't go into it, but a lot of people can relate to that. And it was to the point where I still believed in God. I still had a relationship with God, but I was done with church. I was done with church people. And quite frankly, I didn't even want to do Christian music anymore. Um, but I was still, like I said, I still had a relationship with God. I didn't have that same closeness that I had because I had gone through all of that. And it really affected me for several years. And literally all throughout college, though, I was still posting occasionally, but I was not singing or leading worship anywhere. But the whole time I was in college, I was going to be an early childhood education professional. I was going to be a first grade teacher. And so, but that wasn't my passion. Like I literally just picked a career just because I needed one.
Hmm.
And oftentimes that leads us to where like God's like, come on now. Because every night I was praying in my program, like, Lord, teaching is not like my passion. This is not like music is my passion. If there's any way under the sun that you could make this possible, like please make it possible where I don't have to do this career that I'm not passionate about. And so um literally it was 2 weeks before I moved into my classroom. I graduate college, and 2 weeks before I move into my classroom, my now manager reaches out to me, and he was like, hey, like I would really love to sign you as an artist and develop you as an artist. And I was like, oh my good, like my whole world stopped. Like it was as if it was just me and the Lord. And he was like, see, like this is what I brought you to. Like you just had to wait and trust me. And so I'm like, okay, but here's the plot twist. I truly thought I was going to do country music. I, I
Oh,
I had no thought in my mind that I was going to do Christian music. Even though I had felt a pull to that, I was not being obedient to that. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I've had too much hurt from that. I'm not good enough. Like the list goes on of the lies that we are fed by the enemy. And so I go down and I meet him, and I play him a couple of my originals that I had written a long time ago that I didn't think were any good. They weren't even Christian songs, but he looked at me and he said, "You're not a country singer. You're a Christian singer. You're supposed to lead worship."
hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, you must have the wrong person." Like, no, no, no. But the more I thought about it, we left that meeting. I felt good about the meeting. I talked to my husband about it. And we were like, you know what? God is the only one and the only reason that this is happening. I'm going to do this. So I decided to rededicate my life to God, and I dedicated my music to God. And that was the moment that literally my life changed forever.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. So I'm a little curious. So the manager, was your manager just Christian music, like looking for that, or
Oh,
manages multiple people?
yeah, well, I think now he does a lot more of just Christian music, but
Hmm.
at the time he was managing pop artists, country artists, like all kinds. And he's not a Christian manager. He's a Christian, but he's not like a Christian music manager only. But with him saying that, it was like it confirmed everything that I had been feeling
Hmm.
forever.
That's
For the
definitely the Holy Spirit, I
last,
think, working through him and, you
yeah.
know, activating God's plan. Well, that's so cool. And that's so cool that you took the leap of faith. You and your husband, sat down and talked about, this is where we're gonna go. So was it, has it just been smooth sailing ever since? Or
No.
okay.
there there have been so many challenges and things that I've had to learn and overcome, like just in my personal life as well.
Hmm.
But the good has outweighed all of that. And it has been the best decision I have ever made. I've had to learn how to just speak freely about my faith. Like, if you would have told me a couple years ago that I'd be on a podcast talking about my faith,
Yeah.
um, no, ma'am, like that, I would have said no. So, God has really opened so many doors and changed so much about me for the better that the good has outweighed the bad.
Wow. So you thought you were going to be a country artist. And so there's different ways of singing and approaching different genres of music. And
Yeah.
you have quite a unique sound, I would say to you.
Thank you.
Um, and are you still approaching your voice the same? Like, has it always been the same, or did you find your own unique sound? How did that come about?
It has not always been the same.
Okay.
I actually have my very first singing video ever posted on my TikTok.
Okay,
And
everyone go check it out. TikTok
yeah,
now.
I'm 15 years old. Like, oh my, I have a headband across my head. Like, girl's a mess. But
It's style.
no, it definitely hasn't been the same. I have worked now that I was being developed as an artist. I've worked with a vocal coach. I've actually worked with two vocal coaches. One of them being, I don't know, you probably know Megan Woods,
Mm-hmm.
who's Ruth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I got hooked up with her from my manager, and she was actually able to coach me for several lessons over like FaceTime. And she helped me a lot with like my confidence and my tone and just like feeling the emotion of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I also got to work with Jamie Vendera, who he has worked with so many artists. He's actually like a rock genius, like he's amazing. But he taught me most of like the technical side of like, okay, you're gonna sing with this technique, you're gonna warm up like this, prepare for shows like this, and that has changed everything. And he was actually the one who brought out, like, when you hear me sing and you hear me like sing, I don't know how it's called pharyngeal tone. You know what
Mm-hmm.
it is?
Yeah.
Where you sing like the back of your throat.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, do more of that. And now it's literally become like second nature. So that's like, I guess that's how I kind of have the unique sound. But they helped with that, and they really brought that out of me.
So did they suggest this and you experimented with this sound, or was it you
Yeah.
just found it on your own?
Yeah, well, kind of both.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know anything about like Michael Jackson, how he used to literally lock himself in his room for hours at a time, making all them sounds and noises that he makes in his songs.
Going all the way up top, really
Yeah,
high.
all all of that. And so it was actually my vocal coach Jamie he told me that story, and he was like, I want you to lock yourself in your room and just experiment with your voice. Like, sing all different kinds of music and sing it in different ways. Sometimes you're gonna sound silly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you might find it and be like, that's what I gotta do. And basically that's what I did. And I did a lot of that with actually Amy Winehouse's music. Um,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, because like, she's not a Christian artist, obviously, but
No.
like her sound and her voice together, it my team was like, you lean a lot towards that, and I already loved her. I've always listened to her, and I was like, okay, so like I experimented with that, and I like tried to almost mimic her, but I was able to like make it my own. And I'm also like Southern, so she's British, so
A little bit different.
yeah, a little bit. I feel like if I sing whatever I sing, I'm gonna sound Southern, though.
I love it. You're your own person, and it shines through. Well, that's really interesting how you came up with this original sound, and and then it's more in the rock, like Christian rock genre.
Yeah,
Um, how did the rock come about? Were you just totally into that, or
honestly, man, I don't even know, because I mean, I love rock music. I love
yeah?
AC/DC. I love the greats. Um, I'm a huge fan of Brandon Lake, and he kind of has that sound as well, but like a twist of also like a little bit Southern.
Hmm.
So, but when I came out with my first song, I envisioned that song sounding completely different than what it sounds like now. I love it now. I'm obsessed. I love it. I would not change a thing. But I literally thought it was going to be like Motown, like funk. And
Oh,
yeah, and my super amazing talented producer worked his magic on it, and I was like, whoa, wait, this, yes, like I love this. And so I would say like definitely not all of my music is heavy like rock leaning, but Not Today definitely was. Um, but I guess I lean rock, southern rock, and like funk and gospel. If you could like mix all of that together,
just put it in a bag, shake it up, and this is what you have.
and that's Haley Jones. Yeah,
That's put a period on it. That's awesome. I love it. Oh, well, that's
yeah,
cool. Yeah, you have like I said, you had a very unique sound, and it's really cool to dive into your music. And let's talk specifically about the songs that are coming out. Well, you have now Not Today and Crazy Good.
Yeah.
And they both kind of have their own unique styles too.
hmm
How did those come about? What was the writing process? Let's get a backstory on those.
Okay, yeah. So Not Today was written first, so I'll tell that one first.
Hmm.
So, like I said, I was being like developed as an artist. And when I started doing music full time, I literally was not able to write. I could not write a song to save my life. I thought. So I thought. So when my manager came to me and it was time, it was a few months in of like working with him, and he was like, all right, it's time to start like writing your own music. And I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, Lord, I've already done the leap of faith now. Like, do your thing. So I sat down on my piano and I was like, Jesus, if this is your will for my life to actually make music for you that glorifies you, I pray that I could write a song right now in this moment. And literally in the span of 5 minutes, I wrote my very first gospel song, which is not out. But I sing it all the time on like TikTok live and stuff like that and at my live shows. And that one was called Milk and Honey. Well, for the next like 9 months after that, I was like being coached. I had my producer that produced Not Today was
Hmm.
my songwriting coach.
Okay.
And I would send him my songs every week. He would tweak them. He would rate them like on a scale of whatever. And he would just tell me, what to tweak, what to change about it, whatever. So then comes September. So I wrote that first one back in like December or January
Hmm.
of 24. And then come September, I was sitting here where I'm sitting right now with my piano right here. And I was like, just dealing with like those lies from the enemy of like, you're not good enough anymore. And I thought I had buried those away like years ago. I thought I was over that. No. Devil come back with those lies. And he was like, you're not good enough to do this. You're not even a good enough person. Like, you're not a good enough singer, whatever. You can't even write a song, you know? And so that specific day, I had been dealing with it for a few weeks. And I was like, not today. I am not going to believe this today. Like, I'm not. So I got my Bible and I was looking up verses of like worship and different verses where they talk about praising God and how to, letting God fight your battles for you. And that he says that he will take care of it all. Like, vengeance is his. And so I sat down and I wrote that song and I sent it over to my producer or songwriting coach at the time. And I didn't think really anything of it. Like, I liked it. It was catchy, but I had written so many songs by then. It was just another song. It was another day. And I sent it to him and he was like, this one's pretty good. He was like, let's hold off on releasing this, but definitely put it to the side because this is good. I was like, okay. A few days go by. I didn't really think anything of it, but then I started thinking about it and I was like, oh, I really want to share that song. Like, I had shared a few originals at that time, but like none of them got any traction or anything like that. But I just really felt on my heart that like I needed to post it. So I was like, okay. So I just went ahead and I filmed a video of me in my zebra print blazer out in
Hmm.
my yard. And I lip synced to it. And I sent it to my team before I posted. I was like, hey, I know y'all want me to like put this to the side. Please, can I post this? And I was shocked. And they were like, yeah, go ahead. And the day I posted it, I was actually on my way to my very first write in Nashville to go write up there back in October. This is only like a month later after it was written. And I'm the one that created the demo and all. So like that's what you hear in the original. And it was wild because that whole week I was in Nashville, that video started gaining crazy traction. And all of a sudden there were like 1,000 people that had created a video to the sound of them dancing to it, lip syncing to it, commenting like, please release this. And I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy. And my manager texted the group and he was like, maybe we should look at releasing that song. And I was like, oh my, like I was about to freak out. And so in literally less than a month, we were able for it to go from a demo to the full, what you hear now.
Hmm.
And it got released and it debuted at #2 on iTunes as an independent artist. That's insane. It could only be God. So that happened. And then just the weeks after that, and even to now, like so many people have reached out to me or commented or sent me messages and just said like how much that song has meant to them and like helped them through addiction, through horrible relationships, just like anything, like it has helped them get through that. And I can only praise God and thank him and know that that was him that did that. So during that period of time where the song was doing really well and people were loving it and everything, I couldn't help but only be grateful and have gratitude. And I wanted to praise the Lord. And so I was actually up in Virginia on a family trip, and I got to virtually write a song about that gratitude and about how good God is. And I came up with the title of that song because a family friend came up to my dad, who came up to me and was like, you know, it would be a really great title for a song. This was just random out of the blue, right? I never talked to this person. That
Mm-hmm.
not, and it was crazy good. And I was like, okay. Like when my dad told me that, I was like, it's all right. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was like, okay, that's God. So
Mm-hmm.
so when I went into the write with my two producers, we actually co-wrote Crazy Good. And then that one came out and it charted on the charts. I think it got up to like 50 something on the iTunes charts. Still insane as an independent artist. Like I'm so grateful. But yeah, that's the story behind those. And it's been a really crazy past several months. So
That's super exciting. And
yeah,
it's amazing when we kind of just let God do his thing. Uh,
yeah,
he'll surprise us. I mean, maybe it's not what we expected, but he has a great plan, and we just have to trust in that plan, his timing. That's the hardest part, is trusting in his timing and being like, okay, God, when is this going to happen? And it happened for you. People started getting excited about your songs, and it took off from there. So looking forward, like what's the plan now with music? What are you writing? And actually, I also want to touch on, I assume you're doing a lot of writing.
well, currently at the moment, I
Hmm.
haven't written a ton, but I have a lot of songs like in the vault ready to come.
Ah, hmm. And see,
Yeah.
that's the thing I think a lot of people don't realize, is that there's a lot of unreleased music. Um, people, recording artists, they go in, they record, they write all these songs, and then they may sit on on a hard drive or something for a long time before they're released. And
Yeah.
you can try to get the right timing to release it, but sometimes it's just like kind of winning the lottery in a way. And I mean, you can trust your music and it's really good, but yeah, it's all about timing. And
Yeah.
so what are some things that we can look forward for you, or what are you excited about looking forward?
Yeah. So currently, the one song that we do have like for sure is going to come out. We don't have a date for it yet,
Hmm.
but I am going up to Nashville the next couple weeks to finish it. And it's the song that I've shared on my socials called Hurts Like Help.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm really excited about that one. I cannot wait for everyone to hear the whole song. My dad, I talk about my dad a lot. I love my dad. I don't talk about my mom enough. Love mom too. Uh, but he shows my music to literally everyone that he sees. And somehow, every time he showed people Hurts Like Help, they were
Hmm.
like, oh, that's the one. That's the one. And people have not said that before about any other songs that he's shown them. Like they like them, but people are really excited about this song that have heard it, that we
Hmm.
know. So I'm so excited about it. And I truly feel like that song could set a lot of people free and help a lot of people who are going through a time where they know they're doing the right thing. They know that they're doing a positive change for their life, but it might hurt like a lot. And
Mm.
sometimes help from the Lord hurts, but it's help. And sometimes that's what we need. And so I'm really excited for that one to come out. And I also have some shows coming up that I'm really excited about. I am opening for Ryan Ellis and Sean Rodriguez over in Chama, New Mexico next month.
Wow.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. And then June 7th, I'm going to Norfolk, Nebraska to the Christian Cross Festival, opening for Mac Powell and Colton Dixon will be performing, Cade Thompson, Joseph O'Brien, and Sean Rodriguez again. And then also, I have a show in my hometown in Jacksonville, Florida, coming up on June 21st at the Murray Hill Theater. So I'm so excited for those.
Oh, that's super exciting. Yeah, we'll definitely put out the schedule so everyone can follow. And I mean, you're really, going all across the country. So what is it like performing in all these different places? Like what has the experience been for you?
So technically, this will be
Hmm.
the first time that I'm like traveling that far.
Oh, this is gonna be a new experience. I love this.
So far, I have traveled to Nashville. Like I had, I can't really talk about it that much, but I had this.
It's okay.
I had signed an NDA, but I had this audition a while back, a couple years ago, where I did perform in Nashville at this private thing. Um, that was super cool. Loved it. That's literally that experience, which I wish I could talk about it more.
Sure.
That experience was what gave me the confidence to like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, go for it. You
Hmm.
know, like nothing is stopping you. So that was from that experience. Of course, I can't talk about it.
I'm doing all these amazing things, but just no one can know.
I say that too, but like you gotta obey the law.
It, yes, that's true. That's true.
Maybe one day I'll get to, but and then I've also traveled to like Orlando, not too far, and I've gotten to lead worship at some churches down there, and that's been really great. Honestly, like everything has been amazing. I've done a few local shows in Florida, so it's been really fun, and more the Lord is showing me that like this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And if you if anyone watching has like ever experienced that of knowing like the calling that you're in, there's nothing like it, because God will show you confirmation after confirmation of like, okay, this is why you had to wait so long, or this is why you had to take a detour. And I know I'm still learning, I'm still on this journey, every day God's leading me to something new, but like it has just been such an honor to be able to do this for the Lord.
Oh, I love that. You have such a positive outlook on this. And I mean, you were talking about how some of your confidence kind of waned. Um, but I mean, how did it come back? I really want to hone in on that. Like,
Yeah.
and what would be your advice for other people about gaining confidence in some of these, I guess, trial seasons that we go through, if we want
Yeah.
to frame it that way?
hmm So, something that really stands out to me when you say that is I always think back to I wrote down the reference. It
Hmm.
is Jeremiah, no, I'm sorry, Romans 8:31. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? And that's literally in my song, not today,
Hmm.
because that verse has just been such an influential verse, especially playing a part in my confidence in what I'm doing. Because it can be so easy to have like imposter syndrome and be like,
Oh, I suffer from that all the time. All the
yeah,
time. Oh yeah.
yeah,
It's hard, but I mean, go ahead. I mean, I have my own ways of going about it, but I want to hear from
yeah.
you.
I want to hear about that too. When I get done, I want to hear about it.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so it can be so easy though to feel like I don't belong here. Like, who am I? I am a nobody from the middle of the country in Florida, and a podcast wants to interview me or a radio wants to play my song, like it can be so easy to feel that way and fall into that trap. But if you remember the promises of God and stand on his word literally, and just know like God is for me, God has called me to this. If God's called me to it, he's going to pull me through it. And
Hmm.
that confidence changed everything. Also, Jeremiah 33:3 call to me and I will answer you and show you great and hidden things that you don't know. So if you're unsure about your journey or unsure if you're good enough or unsure of anything, call to Jesus. Like he will tell you, he will show you. I am a walking testimony of that. You know, like he is there for help. He is there to help us and to give us that guidance and to give us that confidence. And if you fully like surrender and trust him in that, he will give that to you. And experience helps a ton as well.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
on the imposter syndrome, I think that's one of the biggest things that artists and creatives they struggle with a lot. And I've in academia, my students and me as a student too. I'm finishing up my doctorate in piano performance, so I'm going to be
What?
Dr. Sheckler here hopefully this summer.
Hey,
And
congrats.
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it's been 11 years of college to play the piano. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
My fallback is this podcast. So no, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, it's in the classical world, we are very strict with our performance standards, I would say.
Yeah.
And there are so many people playing the piano, for one, in the world.
Hmm.
And then to play it at a very high level, um, it's very difficult. You have to put in, like me growing up, I was putting in 6 to 8 hours a day of practicing the piano. And this was starting probably like eighth grade is when I really started honing in and was like, yeah, this is what I want to do for a living. Um, and you, the problem is like where the imposter syndrome comes is comparison is like the thief of joy. And when you don't really focus on what you can do and doing your best, and all your focus on is what I don't have or what I'm not accomplishing at this certain point in life, it
Hmm.
just steals that joy right from you. And
Yeah.
it's very easy to spiral as an artist when you're just constantly comparing yourself, and that can go in a whole nother road with social media and trying to reach certain unrealistic standards. But anyway, with piano, you'd see like these 7-year-old kids from China who are like just these prodigies playing these difficult pieces that you're just struggling to make it through, and then you go to college and it's so competitive. So no, yeah, I've struggled with imposter syndrome even when I feel like other people would be like, "Oh, Harrison, you're at the top. You were, placing in the top 3 in these piano competitions."
Hmm.
And they would say that you're in that top level, but I just didn't feel like I was enough.
Yeah.
Now with me, I have that Christian background. And faith has always kind of been a big point for me growing up. And I know it's not the case for others,
Yeah.
but what's interesting, and you mentioned it too about, putting all your trust in Jesus. I think a lot of people have to take their career goals, their life goals, and be really disciplined with how they approach that to reach a high success. But also understanding that we're enough, even if we're not reaching our goals, because going back to it, God has his own plan for us, and it's not always going to look like what we want. And so
Yeah.
to combat this imposter syndrome, when I realize that I don't need to compare myself to others, I need to just direct everything that I do in my life towards glorifying God and
Yeah.
having um, that center of focus and just contentment.
Hmm.
Just the anxiety goes away. I mean, it's never like I'm never reaching my goals as fast as I would like to,
It,
but
me
yeah, you
neither.
never do. It's a constant struggle, but I think that's just the humanness about it. That's the worldly desires affecting us, and that's just the struggles that God wants us to deal with. But there's a certain sense of peace that comes with it when we just kind of lay down and say, "Okay, God, take over." And
Yeah.
so, but it's a constant struggle. I'm still struggling with imposter syndrome. I mean, it's so difficult. So yeah, that's thanks for letting me share about that. I usually don't share my personal stuff, but no, I think maybe hopefully others will realize that we have that um we have God to call upon in Jesus, to just kind of give us that peace.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That was so good. I deal with that literally all the time. And like you said, comparison, like, well, by the grace of God, I've got better at that. I do not compare because I heard a quote the other day that literally said, um, are you happy when someone else is blessed? Or does it unsettle you? Does it make you upset? If you're happy, you're more than likely being led by the Holy Spirit. If you're not happy for them, you might want to check. So that has helped a ton with like comparison because especially starting out and being independent, it could be so easy for me to look at these artists who are signed to record labels, selling at arenas, playing on mainstream radio all the time. And I'm not there yet, but who's to say that I won't be there one day by following God, you know? And I think a lot of times comparison is almost doubting that you like who's to say that you won't get those opportunities that that other person's having? Who's to say you won't get that big house that they have or that job that they have or whatever it is, even in everyday life, you know? And so I think the opposite of comparison is trusting the Lord.
Mm. Amen. Amen. It's just so difficult. It's I think the hardest thing, one of the hardest goals is just to be a Christian.
Yeah.
And that's just a very bumpy road. It is not smooth sailing. Honestly, it would be so easy not to be a Christian.
It would.
It would be so easy. But like I was talking the other day with someone, anything worth doing is hard and takes time.
Mhm.
And being a Christian is a lifelong journey,
Yep.
and so it never ends. And it's one of the hardest but most gratifying things that we can pursue.
Yep.
And when I see other people like you, I'm seeing it through you, when they are directing their life towards God, it just like shines through,
Yep.
like there, there's there's some really grumpy people that I've met in my life. And when I try to just say, okay, God, I don't really like dealing with this person, but I am going to try to be Christ-like and be a Christ light,
Yeah.
shine his light.
Mhm.
They almost get, they're kind of like taken aback, like, who is
Yeah.
this person? Why do I like this person? I don't want to like you, but
Yeah.
I like you and it's been amazing when I've had that perspective.
Mhm.
The people that come into my life that I would have never thought I would like interact with, and
Mhm.
maybe I still don't even want to really interact with them, but
Yeah.
you get a great relationship with people in general. I know
Mhm.
that's what I've experienced.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Like since I've changed to Christian music and Christian content only, like I didn't just do that just because oh my manager said I need to do that. Like I literally rededicated everything. And so it has been crazy because when I first started doing music, I already had 50,000 followers online, but my actions were not reflecting that of
Mm,
little put together perfect Christian, you know? Like I was a Christian, but I wasn't representing that how I would want to now. And it's so amazing that I have followers who were with me back then. I used to go live every single night. We would have like fridge battles where we would like do, battles on TikTok where like you can win based off
yes.
of whatever. We would do it if you would like lose, you had to like mix condiments from the fridge and stuff like that. It
Oh,
yeah,
nasty.
it was that lasted for literally like 2 years too. I did it every night religiously. Okay.
I hope you won multiple times though, most of the time.
I'm gonna be honest, I did not win most times.
Oh, oh, I don't
Yeah,
even want to know the combinations of things you had to combine.
let's just
Ugh.
I have an iron stomach now.
Yeah, well, you need it after that. My
Yeah,
gosh.
but but what was I oh what I was saying was the people who would watch back then. I've had several people who haven't been in my lives for years or people who even have been in my lives who they come back and they're like, who is this? Like this girl singing Christian music, this girl is talking about Jesus, like what? And there have been just so many people who have like been touched by that, and that touches me. That just literally, it just tells you that your actions can touch other people even without you saying a word. You
Hmm.
know, so it's that's been really cool that my following has kind of grown with me too. I was honestly afraid that like I was not posting like really bad stuff that like I don't want it to sound like that.
Sure.
I was afraid that if I only started posting Christian content that people would unfollow me. And I had been trying to grow that following for years before that. And it was literally the opposite. God brought my people and he's even helped me change lives of people who were with me before who are now Christian who weren't before. So it's just been amazing.
That's so exciting. And it can be a double-edged sword as well, because when you start to get this success, and then let's say maybe you didn't start off really, preaching your faith or sharing your faith,
Yeah.
people would be like, why is that person talking about God? I mean, we know what you've done in your past and,
Hmm.
all the skeletons in your closet.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's a really hard thing for a lot of people. And I guess what I want to try to encourage others listening is if you are going to start to follow Christ and go into it, you either dive into the deep end and go like completely all in because it's not just this lukewarm, just surface level. Like I like Jesus, I'll talk about him, but then
Yeah.
you really have to live it to
Mhm.
get the full impact of what he wants for you. And so
Yeah.
I just want people listening, just take that plunge, just realize that it is the best option for your life to just go full in, follow Jesus, and just share it on the mountaintops. You just have to just trust in the plan, I guess.
Oh, really? For real?
It's so difficult though. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned your husband. How
Mhm.
has your husband played a role in your music? I mean, we have all those important people in our lives, and I think we always need to give credit where credit is due. So, tell us about your husband.
Yeah, so my husband's name is Jared, and we have this next month we'll have been married for 3 years, and August we'll be together for 6. So we've been together a long time. Um, and he has been my number one supporter, even from the moment when we were dating and I was out doing karaoke at the bars. Okay. He was my number one fan and always has been and always will be. And he has been such a huge just like leader in all of this. And we did this together. Like it wasn't just me that rededicated. Like we both did this together, and we knew that this was a ministry that we're doing, and this is like a really big deal and a huge responsibility. And so I mean, he has just taken initiative, and he's been so encouraging, and the Lord has really used him to just give me confidence, give me peace, like tell me when I'm out of line. Like he God has used my husband in ways that my husband doesn't even know. Like I haven't even talked with him about. And I'm just so grateful to have someone like him for sure.
Oh, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have those people, those special people in your life, especially a spouse. Uh, is he musical?
No.
So,
Uh,
so does he have like favorite music? Like I mean, is it? Oh, it's all Haley Jones. That's my favorite music. That's probably the right answer, but
honestly, honestly, yes. And he gets so mad at me because he just got a new phone and he just got it like this week. And he's like, "Why haven't you sent me all of your song files? I need your songs to listen to."
oh,
So yes, and also he always grew up listening to like country music, like old outlaw country, like that was what
real
he
country, like
real.
real country. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. The country that I grew up on was more so like Kenny Chesney, Little Big Town, Lady Antebellum, like early 2000s. It literally was not until I was 19 years old and started dating him that he introduced me to literally. I didn't know the song Strawberry Wine until I was 19. Like that.
Oh, I just cringed. Oh, I love that song. That's a good song. It's
I
okay. We all come from different backgrounds. I mean, for a long time, I was the kid it was funny. Sorry, I'm interrupted, but the on the football bus, we'd go traveling to different high schools, and we used to have like the little iPods. I don't even did they even have iPods anymore? Is that even a thing?
don't even know. I had like a little hot pink iPod Nano. I remember.
Okay, so yeah, so the iPod Nano. So I had some blue iPod, I don't even know what you call it. And so
Uh-huh.
you would load however many songs you could load on that thing and everyone had one. We're all plugged in before the game and
Yeah.
everyone's listening to this music just like totally pumping yourself up. And then I
Mhm.
remember I was sitting towards the front of the bus and coach turns around and he's like, "Yo, Sheckler, what are you listening to?" I was listening to Chopin, like Frederick Chopin piano classical pieces.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so like I was one of those nerdy classical kids I don't even know what everyone else was listening to at the time and
Wow.
um Yeah, I mean, actually, at the time, I remember another moment when someone was just like talking about Lady Gaga. I
Uh-huh.
didn't even know who Lady Gaga was. So there's your cringe moment for that, because I,
Ow.
yeah, but now I feel like I'm very well rounded and I'm learning all the time and I'm open to different genres. And it's been fun. My playlist is very diverse now. It's not just a bunch of old dead classical composers.
Yes, music is not just Kenny Chesney and those classics from the 2000s. I have branched out to all genres. I love all music, honestly.
So who are, speaking of different genres, who are the people you listen to now?
Yeah. So a big inspiration is Jelly Roll. I love Jelly Roll. Even before he did the song with Brandon Lake, like I've always loved Jelly Roll and the messages in his music. If you look back, like his songs have always been about God, like honestly. And just his sound and like that rock but country sound as well and soulful, like I love that. Brandon Lake is a big one. His rock side is like a big one of it. Um, Lauren Daigle, We the Kingdom, Amy Winehouse, like I
Hmm.
said. Also a lot of like Motown and funk music,
Hmm.
like from like the 60s, 70s, like that's my jam. Um, and honestly, I grew up listening to a ton of Southern gospel, like the Crab Family, the Gaithers, like
Oh, I
all of
love them.
like that's such a crazy mix of music, but that's what I grew up with and what I listen to now. Honestly, I listen to all of that.
That's so exciting. With my students, I encourage them because I mean, a lot of these piano students, they're like me. They're totally
Yeah.
classically minded. But honestly, my piano playing gets better when I listen to other genres. I don't know exactly I can't really pinpoint it, but I think it's because as instrumentalists, we're trying to emulate the human voice in a way.
Hmm.
And when you have all of these different timbres and sounds and styles that you can pull from, it
Yeah.
just kind of gives you like a bigger arsenal as an instrumentalist to play with. So yeah, so for any instrumentalist or people who are just totally love classical music, which is awesome, I
Yeah.
encourage to listen to other genres just to give you certain ideas, because you never know what's going to inspire you or kind of like edge its way into your own interpretations.
Yeah, for sure. Do you ever play like jazz or like songs on the piano?
So it's interesting with classical music and then jazz. Jazz is its own language. And jazz musicians, they just, well, one, I don't have perfect pitch. I can play by ear, but it's very limited.
I wish.
Yeah, I know. And anyone who has perfect pitch will be like, you'll know they have perfect pitch because they'll tell you they have perfect pitch.
Mhm.
But these
Every
jazz musicians, yeah, every time. And
time.
these jazz musicians, it's just like the way their brain is wired and how it, however the language of jazz works. Um, Long story short, yes, I can like sight read pretty much anything that's put in front of me, but
Oh,
to just totally like jam along with jazz music, it's like
mhm.
a language that I'm not really fluent in,
Yeah,
but I love jazz music and I listen to jazz music.
same.
I love playing like blues and like boogie woogie, and I just did a recital last week where I incorporated a lot of ragtime. So
Ooh.
like yeah, so it's like I mean it's diverse, you know. And then I had some Spanish music, so you had like the fandango and stuff like
Yeah.
that incorporated. So yeah, no, it's I just love music and I love hearing people and their just way of expressing themselves because as everyone says music is that universal language that connects
Mhm.
all of us together. And it's a really cool medium.
Yeah.
Now, Haley, what do you want people when they listen to your music and your special sound, like what do you want them to get from it?
That's a good question. That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
First and foremost, I truly feel called to make music that is just empowering and uplifting and encouraging and let people know that they're not alone. And especially, I think Not Today set a really good tone with the message that I want to convey over all of my music. And that is if you will just put your focus and your trust and your worship towards God, like he's going to take care of the rest for you. And I honestly just hope that my music is empowering and just can encourage people and motivate people that you can stand on the word of God. Who cares what people say? Like, he's going to fight for you. Like, stand for him. And that he's just a really crazy good God.
Amen. I love that. And I think your music is doing that. I know me listening to it, it's definitely very empowering. And I encourage anyone who hasn't heard your music yet to just run to it wherever you can hear the music. So where can you hear your music?
So what helps me out the most is if you go directly to iTunes and purchase it and download it. But if you don't have iTunes, that's totally fine. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, on everything, every single platform.
Okay, great. And if people want to connect with you, where should they go?
So my main platforms are TikTok and Instagram, and both of my handles on there are Haley Jones Official. And I also have a Facebook where I'm Haley Jones Music. But if you click the bio of any, like the link in my bio in any of those, it'll take you to a full list of every platform that I'm on. So I'm basically on everything except for like X, I think, because I don't know how to work it.
I have X and then I forget I have it, you know?
Yeah, I posted like 3 times on it and nobody saw it. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, it's kind of its own niche platform at this point now.
Yeah, literally. But if you go to that link, it'll take you to all of them. But my main platforms are TikTok and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, and what I'll try to do is when this airs, I'll make sure that we have the links in the bio and description of the episode, so everyone can go find out all of the great things that you're doing. Now we're coming close to the end of our podcast, and one of the things I like to do with all the guests is I do a 1-minute rapid fire round of questions. Okay, and the hardest part is what I'm starting to realize with this is I just ask so many great questions that are not one-worded answers. So I'm propping myself up. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. And
no, I great interviewer. I've loved every minute of this.
Oh, I'm super. I think I could just go on for hours, but
yes!
You're so much fun to talk to. But we're gonna try our best to see how many questions you can answer. But if you really need to expound on one, that is totally fine. Let me pull up my timer here. Let me get my list that I prepared.
Gotta get ready.
Yeah. Okay. Haley Jones, are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
Okay. And favorite worship song right now?
Oh my gosh. Rescue Lauren Daigle.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Go-to pre-show ritual?
I drink liquid IV. I eat sour candy, apples, chips, but not too much because I'll throw up. And I warm up my voice with the Dr. Vox and hot tea.
One artist you'd love to collaborate with?
Oh my gosh. Brandon Lake.
Do you have a favorite Bible verse?
Yes. I have 3, but I'll give you my favorite. Jeremiah 29:11. For the plans I have for you, declareth the Lord, for welfare and not for evil, to give you hope in a future.
Favorite city you performed in, or city that you're really looking forward to performing in?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to several. My next one, New Mexico, Tama, New Mexico.
That would be really cool. One word to describe your 2025 so far.
Woo! Full.
Full. Okay. And that can mean a lot of things. Okay, great. I love this. Haley, this has been very empowering conversation. It has been so great to just hear all the exciting things you've done and that you're planning on doing with this full year ahead.
Well,
and I just encourage everyone to go check out your music. I know when I reached out to you, I was like, I need to have her on the podcast because she's shining that Christ light, and I know something is calling me to share you and what you're sharing with the world. I mean, I'm so excited that you were willing to talk with me today.
Yes, of course. Anytime. I will come back anytime. I have had such a fun time. This has been so enjoyable, and it's been so nice to meet you. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Sheckler Spotlight with your host, Harrison Sheckler. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the show with a friend. New conversations drop regularly, so stay tuned. And thanks again for listening and being a part of the journey. Follow Harrison Sheckler on social media and visit harrisonsheckler.com to learn more.